Yes.
I'm trying to tune in to YouTube. It's saying error occurred. Please try later. Is it because it's a 3 minutes early?
Good morning and welcome to Unity of Chicago South Beyond Walls. I am Reverend R. Ken Turner, one of the ministers at Unity of Chicago South. Proud to be the senior minister along with the other ministers that work to provide you with spiritual enlightenment. Reverend Dr. Stephanie Coleman and Reverend Dr. Nick Angadi. Well, we have a fantastic week that we've just gone through. If you received the, I believe it was an email from, MailChimp, it kind of talked about where we are right now and to pause for a moment and give thanks for being on this side and knowing that there are people that did not make it through the week and did not make it to this point because of the challenge that faces the entire planet at this particular time. We do have a little housekeeping and we want to do a little remembrance for those people. So if you have some folks in mind that are no longer with us on this plane, that are at this point in time are, let's say, moving on spiritually, moving on with their spiritual journey, then, we're going to pause before we get started today in remembrance of them because we want to remember folks. If nothing else, this period probably has, for a lot of you, brought back memories. And I think we talked about that a little bit last week, but it's brought back memories. And it dawned on me that these memories are coming back because we've slowed down, because our pace has slowed down and we're kind of catching up with ourselves, with the life that we've lived and the life we're in right now. And it's a kind of coming together of that, a congealing of those two at this moment in time. So we get memories of things that we might think are pleasant or unpleasant, but it's all a part of who we are and what we've been and how we got to this point. In dealing with some housekeeping, I want to ask you, if you're here, are you spreading the word? Are you letting people know that we are here on Sundays? I know that we had a challenging start, and some of you stuck with it, came back, and we got better, and we continue to work with the streaming company, and this week we've put a lot of time in with them, and it seems that most of the issues have been corrected as far as streaming out to the various platforms, including places like Facebook and YouTube and our website all at the same time. Want to add in Periscope next week and continue to grow. Now, one of the things that we're faced with being in this particular practice, this New Thought metaphysical practice, is that the time we spend on Sundays is limited. In other words, we cannot get into the depth of these lessons, of these theories, of these concepts, of these ideas in the half an hour, 35 minutes that we spend together on Sundays. And Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman used to say that on many Sundays, I won't say each Sunday, but on many Sundays, where she would say that we are unable to absorb all that is needed to practice this stuff called New Thought in one Sunday lesson or a Sunday lessons period. And as I prepared today, it's like, yeah, that's, reminded again, memories coming back, that's so very true. And the fact of the matter is, how do you overcome that? Well, we are working on other platforms to bring opportunities to share, do more sharing, more interacting on closer to a teaching situation, a classroom situation. And part of that is not just the fact that it takes a little bit to activate this stuff and accumate yourself to it, but in order for us to talk about some of the other things that surround our lives right now that just are not appropriate for Sunday. I mean, there's so many things bubbling up that have occurred this week, the statements that have been made, some actions that have been taken, but that's not what we do on Sunday. On Sunday we come together for spiritual upliftment and spiritual support, so to speak. So we want to keep it in that vein, but let you know that there is more coming. There is more that we can vent, and we can discuss the negativity that we see or we perceive that's happening around us. I won't go any deeper than that. That's enough right there. That's enough right there. Now, next week, Periscope. I also want to welcome in any of the LinkedIn people that have joined us as we extended invitations out to the LinkedIn people late this week. And we will include them in the future to let them know about our 11 a.m. service. I want to also let you know that we do listen. We were told about not being able to get online. We were told about some volume issues, some audio issues, and some other things, that the feedback that we got. And I've done as much as I can to adjust it in the period that we've had. I want you to continue to let us know that if there's a problem, and we will do everything to solve it, to make it better. We want this to be the best experience possible for you. So if you have suggestions, ideas, make sure that you let us know, text them to me, email them to me, however you can get them to me. Give me a call if you have my number and let me know, hey man, I appreciate this, but whatever it might be. I won't take offense to that. And then I want to remind you how we start our service and how we get into our service, our celebration, our Sunday celebration. And that is, we do that with an affirmation of truth. And I want to take a moment now to just calm myself and ask you to calm yourself at this moment, to move into that affirmation of truth. And it's needed so much now with all that's going on, is we do need to affirm the truth that we know and the truth that is. I now calm myself in the presence of the one power and the one presence, known by many names, and I call Father, I call Abba, I call Divine Parent, I call God. And in that presence, that divine presence, I renew my understanding that no matter what, this is the only presence there is. That divine presence, and I'm in that presence right now, and I release all the things that seemingly act against the presence of God, act against that divine presence, knowing that they are not real. They are current, they are facts, but they are not lasting. And in that consciousness, I move deeper, deeper. And with the presence of God and the goodness of God right now. That divinity is flowing through me. That divinity is me. And as I allow it to move through me from my head to my toes, from my toes to my head. The energy of God renews me in this moment. I am whole in this moment. I know in this moment there is only God. That is my truth. I hold it in the midst of and move in it in the midst of and allow it to move through me in the midst of. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for your presence, for your power, for your guidance, and for all that you are. Know that it is so, and so it is, and all is well. Okay. Now, in that moment, I hope that you held others that, again, have left. A couple of people that I know, I was made aware that they have made their transition, and it's because of the challenge, and it touches you. But then you have to hold on to the fact that, but I'm here and I have a responsibility. I'm here and I have a responsibility. I want to share a story with you. It's a story about a prospector. You know, a prospector going out looking for something precious, something very, very precious. And so this precious item that the prospector is looking for can be gold, if that's your consciousness. It can be diamonds, it could be jewels, whatever your consciousness is. This prospector knows that if they find these precious stones, this precious metal, that their life will change. But before they go out to this land, to search this riverbed, to search wherever it may be, to search, before they go, they're told that, there is something that is so powerful, it's so beautiful, it's so awesome, that if you grab hold to it, if you see it, if you get it, it will change your life forever and ever and ever, no matter what. And so they go out and they start digging, or they start panning, and they see something shiny, and they say, wow, this is great. And they run, they say, oh, this is silver, and it's worth something. And they go back and they get more silver. Or if they're looking for stones, they are digging, and all of a sudden they see red and they see blue stones, and they take them and forth, and they say, look at what I found. Is this worth anything? And say, oh yeah, this is worth a lot. And they say, this is great. Forgetting what they were told at the beginning, the message that they were giving. There is something so great. And so they spend the money that they get for the stones, and they go get more stones, and they spend the money that they get for the stones, and they go get more stones, and they spend the money that they get for the silver, and you get the picture, right? And all the time, if they had gone a little further, gone a little deeper, they would have found the diamonds. And all the time, if they had gone a little further and gone a little deeper, they would have found the gold. We are spiritual prospectors, and even though our lives are going well, we're here, we've survived, there is something within us that is deeper and more fulfilling than whatever we have right now. And it is our responsibility to ourselves to continue to go deeper and deeper for our diamond, for our platinum. So today I want to talk to you and want to share with you about a path and a source of wisdom. Now, some of you that have joined us today and are not familiar with New Thought or not familiar with metaphysics might say that, don't you use the Bible for everything? I mean, how can you possibly be a Christian, a practicing Christian, and not couch everything that you do in the Bible? And I will say what I've said so many times, that you have to be very cautious about the Bible, and you realize that you use it like you would use any other book, any other author. You know, if you want to take a line out of Hamlet with Shakespeare, you don't take the whole play. You might not even take the whole scene. You just may take one line, because that line expresses what you are trying to express. Now, the Bible is the same way. There's wisdom, there's information in there that will allow you to express what it is that you want to express. And it may only be a little bit. So don't look at us like we're not Christians. We are. Don't look at us like you don't use the Bible, me in particular. I do. But it is beyond that, because God, the Father, divine, is all beyond any book at all. But I want to talk to you about a couple of scriptures in the Bible. 1 Kings 19:11. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I want to just kind of give you a capsule. And that is when Elijah is getting away from Jezebel and is in the mountains and is in a cave and goes to the mouth of the cave, and there's a loud sound, and Jehovah was not in that loud sound. There was an earthquake, and Jehovah was not in that earthquake. And then there was the small, still voice. And that's where he found Jehovah. And then I want to go to James in the New Testament and deal with the two wisdoms that he talks about. He talks about our earthly wisdom, and he says, you know, if you have the earthly wisdom, it's going to have some things that you'll realize that it's earthly wisdom is. It's going to have some jealousy and some bitterness and things of that nature accompanying the wisdom. He said, but when you get wisdom from above, it's pure and it's peaceful and it's gentle and it's easy to accept and it's full of mercy and good fruits. It's without variance and without hypocrisy. The wisdom from above, the wisdom from within. Now, from the Dharma, from the Buddhist practice, it teaches that the Dharma, wisdom, is not upheld by talking about it. The Dharma is upheld by living in harmony with it. And one of my favorites, as you know, Ernest Holmes says, God is wisdom, therefore man is wise. Man reflects, embodies, or incarnates the wisdom of God. The source of wisdom is God, he's telling us. And then finally, Charles Fillmore says, wisdom is an intuitive knowing, the voice of God within, a knowing with the capacity to transcend intellectual knowledge. It is considered to be above all other faculties. Wisdom. Wisdom. It comes from within. It's not something to talk about. It's something to live. It's something to do. It is of God, and since we are of God, we are incarnated with that wisdom, the ability to tap into that wisdom, that is. And finally, from the Reverend Arcane, it says, wisdom is the revealer of all that is and all that can be manifest. Wisdom reveals all of God to us, manifest and unmanifest. Now, I want to just hit with Jesus a little bit. And you say, well, what do you mean? Well, you know, we think of Jesus in a particular light. I'm not going to discuss what light. Coming out of Easter and Holy Week and Palm Sunday, there's some consciousness going on with what Jesus did, what Jesus was, how Jesus, so forth and so on. But I want to just give you a couple of references about Jesus and wisdom. In Luke 2:52 it says, and Jesus kept increasing in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. And it talks about wisdom again in Matthew and Mark. You see, wisdom is the invisible infinite source of all that is. It is behind and within all there is. It is in that has yet to be manifest and that is manifest already. So it's in form and unformed consciousness, wisdom. It is also a willing traveler. It will travel through the subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious mind. So it moves through all of our phases. Wisdom is present in every phase that we have. And it'll do it without drugs. It'll do it without education. Yes. It'll do it without doctrine. Wisdom does not claim is not there only for the educated, only for those that get high, only for doctrine. It is beyond all that. You may have heard of some of the beyond all of that. Mother wit would be one. Wisdom of a child. The wisdom of experience. Wisdom is innate, internal, and divine information. I want to say that again. Wisdom is within, never ending, and it's God. It is the whole Spirit of God given to each of us. Given to each of us. And we can connect through the Christ. It's key for connected, correct activity in our life and affairs is love. So the key to wisdom is love. It's said, as you study wisdom, that love needs to be present for wisdom to perform for our highest good. Love and wisdom traveling together for our highest good. See, when it's couched in love, it is a divine winning combination. When wisdom is couched in love, it is a divine winning combination. A combination that provides answers for manifesting our desires and for changing our conditions. So you say, well, what is love? Love is patient, love is kind, love is cooperative. Some of the features of love. So when wisdom, knowledge, knowing, being, wisdom, beyond all that, this wisdom beyond knowing, beyond being, when that is connected with love, all of a sudden, the answers we're looking for, that which we need, is taken care of. So how do we work to connect, get to that diamond, beyond the rubies of positive thinking, beyond those jewels, beyond the jewels of seeing good all the time, beyond those jewels, beyond all of those jewels, beyond the gold and the platinum of keeping a positive attitude, beyond that, there's a jewel further, deeper down, that jewel of wisdom, which everything comes from. How do we connect to that channel? Because when we connect, get involved, are open that channel. We are opening the channel to God, because God is wisdom. It's in our practice. It's in the quiet time. It's in the privacy. Some of us are experiencing wisdom during this time because we are with ourselves, as I began this talk with. We are within ourselves. There's no place to go, no place to run, nothing to do. We have to spend time with ourselves. And the more time we spend with ourselves, the more we get to know ourselves. The more we get to experience what we've gone through, memories. And if we're wise, the more we are able to expand into what we can do. What we can manifest. As we quiet down, and one of our people that attends and follows us connected with me and said, there's something that I need to share with you. And I said, okay, let's share. So we've been working on this project together, separately but together. And revelations come forth when you began to work even with material that you've already worked with. Revelations come forth. And those are the revelations that can change your life. And during this time when you are with yourself, allow that change to take place in your life. Allow the revelation to come forth. If not now, when? When you're back in the hurry and scurry of everyday life, moving back and forth to and fro with the responsibilities of this moment. They've been lifted from us. Use this time to go get the diamond of wisdom that's within you. It is no place else. It can be no place else. And it is God. Energy of God waiting to manifest in any manner we choose. We're spiritual prospectors, prospecting for the wisdom diamond. Now, you say, well, I need the privacy and I need to quiet myself. Even in your practice, now you can start focusing on uncovering, releasing the wisdom, the presence of God in your life at this moment. You have a different focus and a different challenge I'm putting in front of you. Not just to get quiet and get still, but get quiet and get still, knowing that there's something down there waiting to speak to you. It's a still, small voice. It's not something that you talk about, it's something that you do. And you do it with love. It is not underneath, it is above all faculties. Spiritual prospectors, mining for wisdom, knowing that there's a wisdom vein in you, like a vein of gold. There's a wisdom vein, a vein of wisdom in you, and you have the right to tap into it. And that wisdom is the wisdom of the divine. It's the wisdom of the universe. It is from where everything has evolved. You say, whoa, wait a minute. From where everything has evolved. Hold on, what are you saying? When you study this wisdom, you'll find that every answer is answered through wisdom, is answered through the divine. Wisdom is the divine. And it is through that innate wisdom that math problems are solved, that we go to the moon, that airplanes fly, that boats and ships of steel float on the water. It is through the wisdom. I want you to get, it's through the wisdom. It is through the wisdom. And you have a right. You have a right to that wisdom. It is yours. So whatever you've done in the past, whatever you have been doing for your practice, add the seeking and the mining for wisdom with the knowledge of it is there. It's in there. It's in you. It's in every individual. And whatever you look at, you say, wow, they created this camera, they created this lamp, they created this clock to tell time. All of that comes from the same place. All of the ability to do that, all of the knowledge to do that comes from wisdom. You say, well, are you confusing knowledge and wisdom? And I say, no, not at all. See, knowledge is some understanding, but wisdom is to know what to do with the knowledge. Do you understand now? So everybody can get an idea. Ideas come from God, but everybody doesn't have the wisdom to take the idea or the knowledge and manifest it or allow it to manifest through them. So if anything, we're asking that I want help in using wisdom, because that's your gift to me. I don't need more knowledge. I don't need more understanding. I need to know how to release all the negativity I put around wisdom to allow it to flow. I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not, are the negativities that we put around wisdom that we hold it back. Wisdom says, I'm better than all of that. I can overcome any of that if you allow me, because I don't recognize anything like that. I am not limited. I am divine, and I'm within you, ready to come forth if you let me. Let your practice be the preparation for the arrival of wisdom active in your life. Allow it to express. Allow it to address the ideas, the challenges that you have. Bring forth the ideas and develop them and address the challenges. Everything, every accomplishment by human beings has been done through wisdom. Why not get on that train? Stop looking outside. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing with their wisdom, because they have it. But what am I doing with my wisdom? What am I doing with my diamond? I'm a spiritual prospector. I'm a miner. What am I doing with what I have? That wisdom. Well, I have this and I have that. You have rubies and you have emeralds and you have silver. But there's something more if you choose to allow it to come forth in your life. And it changes our lives. It changes our lives. Okay, well, there's so much more. But we're committed to keep our talks within 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Don't want to keep you longer than that. We have so much going on in our lives, even though we're inside, many of us. There's still a lot going on. So I want to let you know that I appreciate you taking some time to stop by, to link in with Unity of Chicago South Spiritual Center Beyond Walls. And continue to visit us. Continue to watch our progress. This is a whole new dynamic for us. We will not be the same after this is over, after this quarantine is over, after this, all of this virus is over. We will still be evolving in a different direction. So that's more or less what our mission is right now. How do we evolve in this different direction? How do we touch on the wisdom that will allow us to evolve in the manner that we want, in a manner that we never thought about, in a manner that may have never been seen before? How do we do that? By tapping into that wisdom. And I want to give you this quote as we conclude. It's from Take Command by Vera Dawson Taint. It says, "We have been given the wisdom to drive our own lives, to step confidently forward into that which is for our highest good. If disappointments crop up, or if there is an unpleasant thing to be met, we can learn to handle them when we know and accept the truth of our relationship with God. There's only one power, one presence, and we are in, with, and from that one power and one presence." Thank you again for coming online this Sunday, streaming with us. This is Reverend R. Ken Turner, representing Unity of Chicago South Spiritual Community Beyond Walls. Until next time, blessings, bliss, wellness, and health.